time now for one of an occasional series of Allcomers races put on by the 750 Motor Club, and in the words of Peter Snow, it's just a bit of fun. Most of the cars taking part are already here this weekend for championship action, notably a plethora of MR2s and BMW compacts, which are taking to the back of the grid now. But at the sharp end, two cars that we saw out in bike sports action yesterday. Tim Gray and John Cutmore have brought their Spire GT3s to the grid, and they are expected to dominate, really. Red light goes on, goes out now then. A good start there by Richard Chamberlain in his Lotus Elise from the second row of the grid, and he's got past John Cutmore's Spire. It's Martin Kemp there in fourth position, you can see, in his 750 Formula Race Kits Falcon, and then it's the MR2s and the compacts with a few stock catch cars, a Caterham, a low cost sprinkled in as well. A real good mix of cars then. Down towards turn number one, turn two at Dean, and it's a spin for Martin Kemp in the Race Kits Falcon. He's off onto the grass. But he's not actually racing in 750 Formula this weekend because he's handed his car over to St Andrew for those particular duties. So we're going to have some entertainment now, I should think, from Martin as he tries to pick his way back through the field. Losing some of the dust that he's picked up there on the grass. So here are the MR2s. It looks like they're being headed at the moment by Matthew Wallace from Simon Wallace in second, and Matthew Palmer in third place. Luke Austin, who was going strongly, has lost a little bit of ground, it would seem, among that class. He qualified on the inside of row number 3 overall, but he's dropped back a little bit now. There's Palmer, who has won the last 4 races in the MR2 Championship, just tucked in behind Simon Wallace there, third within that class. As off goes Luke Austin into the gravel at Gracelands. Well, all of a sudden the car turned right when it should have gone left. Maybe a problem with his tyres, but Luke Austin pitched into the gravel trap there as John Cutmore gets back ahead of the Elise of Richard Chamberlain as they make their way through Brook Chicane. But the red flags are out, the race being stopped, and I should think that will be because Luke Austin's car is stranded in the gravel trap. There it is, and the Northampton driver just making his way out of the car and sprinting to the safe side of the barriers. But the race being stopped, so his car will be retrieved before we get a restart. No Luke Austin then on the inside of row 3 on the grid. It's going to be Timothy Heron in the 23 car that starts alone on that particular row. The race gets underway, and again a good start by the Elise of Richard Chamberlain, just better off the line than John Cutmore's Spire. And again it's Martin Kemp who was able to retake his position on the outside of row 2 that holds on to 4th position then. But he is under threat now from Heron in the first of the MR2s as they make their way up towards Dean Hairpin for the first time, and I think Kemp is just about going to be able to hold on. But all of these MR2s and compacts, there you can see Ryan Lowry in his Ford Fiesta as well. He was out in classic stock catch yesterday, had some of his best ever results as well, which was pleasing to see. Turning their way through the right-hander at Yentwood then. So who's ahead in the MR2s this time? It is Tim Heron that is ahead. Then it's Matthew Wallace. In third it's Matthew Palmer. Simon Wallace is in 4th position this time. And then it looks like the first of the Clios is next through, and that's Ben Seabold. These Clios, of course, being developed to run ideally in their own standalone series next year. They're generally racing alongside stock hatch so far this season, but the performance of these cars has been very pleasing indeed, and there's more and more of them in build all the time. You can just see in the background Ben Seabold going through, but for the moment it is the MR2s that Ben needs to try and find his way past. They're headed by number 23, that's Tim Heron, as they make their way down the School Straight towards Brook Chicane for the first time. You can see Seabold there having a look up the inside of Simon Wallace in the number 73 MR2. Unable to make that work. Hoping to have about 10 of the Clios out by the end of the season. There's certainly that many that are either already built or are in build. I look forward to seeing full grids of them next season. They're just going through shot. You can see the low cost, the Caterham type car of Danny Andrew. He qualified very well indeed in his little 1300cc low cost. There's a mistake there by Tim Heron. Does that let Matt Wallace have a sniff of an opportunity for the lead amongst the unofficial MR2 class. There you can see Danny Andrew there was in the thick of that battle amongst some MR2s there. The compacts making their way through as well. David Drinkwater in number 67 looks to be the top of the compacts at the moment. But certainly the MR2s just seem to have the legs on the compacts around Rockingham. Well, here is Tim Gray, our race leader. In the bike sports race yesterday, he had something of a dramatic retirement, had to pull into the pits with brake problems. The brakes overheated. There's a little bit of a fire down in the pit lane as well, but he had a more successful race too, getting to the end. There you can see Richard Chamberlain now well among the lappery in this race. He's just putting a lap on, I think that's the Martin Farrelly MR2. So Chamberlain in that Elise running in third position overall. There's some more MR2 scraps. That's number 8, Clive Morford, a regular front runner in the Toyota MR2 Championship. He's just behind though at the moment Mark Warren Layton in car 16. Is that going to change around as they head down into Tarzan Hairpin? Yes, it looks like it is. Ryan Lowry, of course, in his classic stock hatch, not too far behind, proving himself pretty evenly matched with the MR2s. There goes John Cutmore, our second position man, and he's going to swallow up some of these MR2s for breakfast, I think, on the way down to Dean Hairpin. Look at how he can just drive past them. He takes the outside line, dives ahead of them, and dives ahead of Matthew Wallace, who is leading that unofficial MR2 battle from Palmer in second place now. It looks like Heron in third. Here's Martin Kemp, still running in fourth position overall in this Race Kits Falcon. We'll see that out again a little bit later on in the 750 Formula Championship race in the hands of his son, Andrew. Here's Palmer though going for the lead amongst the MR2s. Runs quite wide though. Dean Hairpin, does that give Tim Heron an opportunity to get back into second place? No, it doesn't, because he was a little bit sideways coming out of the corner as well. Alex Knight starting to get involved, and he relegates Tim Heron one more place there. Dan Holmes, you can see, going through, and there's another of the Clios. That's Kevin Condon there. He's going pretty strongly in that number 22 car. Mark Bithry, that is, just behind him in the white MR2. Danny Andrew there as well in that low cost, a front runner and a race winner this season in the low cost championship. Not racing here at Rockingham this weekend, but they'll be back in action at Silverstone at the end of August, which is the next 750 Motor Club race meeting. Danny, the ex-kart racer, still with a novice cross on the back of his car. So there's Bithry, number 58 then, making his way through Gracelands, and down the straight towards the Tarzan Hairpin they go. As you can hear in the background the wail of one of the Spires, the bike sports cars. Martin Kemp lapping there David Drinkwater, and John Cutmore about to put a lap on Martin Kemp as well, I think, as we come into the closing stages of this race. Those Spires are lapping down at the Womanlit 27s in the hands of Tim Gray. The majority of the cars in this race are lapping in 1:47 or slower, as Alex Knight doing battle there with Simon Wallace in the number 73 car. Alex Knight has been a winner in the MR2 Championship this season at Brands Hatch. Hasn't managed to uphold that level of form throughout the season, but certainly went well on the Indy circuit in Kent. Here though is Tim Gray on his final lap, making his way through Tarzan Hairpin for the final time. He's leading by more than half a lap over his rivals as Iggy Kwesi pulls his BMW compact into the school pit lane there. Through Brook Chicane for the final time then comes Tim Gray. It's been something of a test session really for these Spires, but a very effective one it has proved as well. Checkered flag goes out, and victory in the Allcomers race goes, with no great surprise, to Tim Gray. Well, there are battles still to be settled. This is between car 40 and car 66. It's for 23rd position between Warren Gazzard and Bryce Greenwood as the MR2s come across the line, and in the end it's Matthew Palmer that takes the win in that division from Matthew Wallace. So he got the better of Wallace in the end, and Tim Heron took third position. The Elise goes over the line as well. That's Richard Chamberlain who takes third position. Then it's Dan Holmes, he's next over the line in number 92. He is 10th, just ahead of the first of the Clios. That's Kevin Condon. And here comes our second place man through Brook Chicane. That's John Cutmore, car number 3. A regular in the RGB Championship, but racing with the bike sports and in the Allcomers this weekend. So he's had 3 races over the course of the weekend, and he finishes in P2. And finally, our 4th position man, that is Martin Kemp. Confirmation of those results then. 52 seconds the winning margin for Tim Gray over John Cutmore, and everybody else was at least 1 lap down. Within Class B, Matthew Palmer got the honours from Matthew Wallace. The best of the Class C drivers was Danny Andrew in his low cost. He finished 13th overall.
Tim Gray, victory there in the Allcomers race. A nice easy Sunday drive for you there, and you kind of opened it up and a little bit of testing.
Yeah, lots of testing. Yesterday was the main focus, but today, yeah, just a bit of extra testing. It's really good, sort of 2 ways really. It's great for learning racecraft and practicing overtaking, because there's so much to overtake, and thinking ahead all the time of where you got to be and where you need to put the car. And we just had a few things we wanted to try out on the car, and they've made quite a big difference and made the car a lot better. So we're really looking forward to Silverstone next.
And the Spire is kind of a new car for you. You're still trying to get to grips with it, and it's coming along nicely for 2013. Yeah,
it's part of the reason we wanted to do this extra Allcomers races. I didn't really feel I had enough time in the car this year, and so any amount of seat time is beneficial from just learning the car's characteristics as much as anything else. So yeah, it was great to get out in the car. They're an absolutely fantastic car to drive, and you just smile all the time when you're racing. So it's a real pleasure.
John taking second place there in the Allcomers race. Once again, Tim was a little bit too quick for you, but picking up second, not too bad.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Tim had a slight advantage on slick tyres, nevertheless, I never got near him, but yeah, had a good race.
And good track conditions for you today?
It was actually really good. Conditions were, better than yesterday. It was too hot, and it was great fun to go through the pack, and yeah.
Richard out in the Lotus there for the Allcomers race, managed to pick up third place. Nice little run for today.
Oh, it was really good fun. We were at Alton Park yesterday and came down at midnight this morning, I suppose, and came here home in time for Sunday lunch. What can be better than that?
You're getting used to the Lotus now. You had a great start there, nearly got into the lead, but then the Spires came into their own.
Yeah, I mean, the Lotus is just a great car, but it's a modified road car. It's not a race car, so you can't really expect too much.
Well on the podium though.
Thank you very much.